didn't see it come in. Well, I guess it's time for another review. This is Sipperman223, and I got a haircut. Look at this sexy haircut. Oh, you're probably all like, oh, this is so sexy. I know, it's just so sexy. My new haircut, this is what happened. This is, it was spiked, that's why it's kind of looking like this. I can make it look better. It was spiked yesterday, but anyways, so yes, I am reviewing Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And this movie was awesome. I mean, just look at the poster. Look at that. Look how awesome that is. What? So badass. Look at that. So awesome. And yeah, so this movie was awesome. Everything about it was awesome. It's great film. The acting was awesome. Like, the acting was great. The it stars James Franco. He was amazing. He was great. The other people, they were all awesome. The guy who played the monkey, you know, Caesar, he was awesome. And I heard he might get an Oscar nomination for that. Makes me sad because I don't think Smeagol, the guy who played Smeagol, got an Oscar nomination. If he did, tell me, because I don't know. Too lazy to look it up right now. But yeah. So this movie was awesome. Acting was great. Movie was great. The story was great. Now it could go either way. It could be a. I heard mostly it's going to be a reboot, it's a reboot to the Planet of like a reboot of Planet of the Apes. But they could go either way. It could be a prequel, or it just could be a start of a whole new series. I hope it's a start of a new series, and I do hope they make new sequels. Because if they end it like this, I don't know. So hopefully they'll make more sequels, and yeah, this movie was awesome, and oh, phone's ringing. Why isn't my phone ringing? What? Why isn't my phone ringing? Who was it? Oh. My mom's friend. Okay, back to my review. So as I was saying before the phone rang, I was gonna say, definitely worth seeing in the theater. Awesome movie. I'd go to the theater and see it. I think it's definitely worth seeing in the theater, and I would rate this movie 4 stars. 4 stars. Awesome movie. And yeah. Oh, if you're wondering what this book was, it's just a map of the world. Map of the world. So yeah, and so that was my review of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and now I'm going to get into spoilers, so if you don't want to get spoiled, click out, because that's probably what you're going to want to do. So if you don't want to get spoiled, click out now. Okay, so hopefully you guys are gone, because now I'm getting into spoilers. Just checking time. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep this bar open just so I can't see the time anyway, so might as well do this. Okay, I'm going to get into the plot now. So, James Franco's character, his name's Will. And I think it's Will because I heard in the trailer, the girl was like, "He's a strong Will." So, I don't know. So yeah, Will is in this he's working on I don't need to explain what his character is because people who are watching should have seen the movie, so I don't should really explain. So yeah, he's working on this serum that can cure Alzheimer's, and they're testing it on apes. And they tested on this one girl ape, but she goes crazy at one point, and then the cops have to kill her, and they realize that she just went crazy because she had a baby. So Will takes the baby in and names him Caesar. Caesar, yeah, and that's when they find out that the baby, Caesar, he actually has the serum kind of went to him, so, as well. So, and what it does is it gives apes green eyes. That's when you know they have it, and they get smarter. And Will lives with his father, and now he lives with Caesar as well. And he gets smarter and smarter and smarter. He just keeps getting smarter. His IQ gets getting higher. And because that girl ape broke in, the owner didn't let Will continue his work for this. Like they don't let this serum won't be used, so they're not going to use it. But Will ends up he uses it on his father because his father has Alzheimer's, and it works. So his father gets healed, but Will doesn't tell anybody that. So then it cuts to 5 years. No, before it cuts to 5 years later, he ends up getting a girlfriend in kind of a funny way. You guys should know because you've seen it, but he gets her in a funny way, and yeah, then it cuts to 5 years later, and Caesar, a lot grown up, Will takes him to this forest where he climbs, and Caesar's like is like thinking, you know, my pet or whatever, and Will's like, you know, you're not a pet, and then what's it called? Oh yeah, then the father, he gets his Alzheimer's back, and that's when Will realizes that the Alzheimer cells are taking over the serum cells. So he basically tells his boss that it worked on his dad, but now the cells after 5 years are going back. But he said that he's perfecting it more, so he wants to test it. He wants to test it more. So the owner guy's like, okay, so he tested on this other ape, and it works. So then he wants to test it on more apes, but then Will's like, I know, I gotta perfect it more. I don't want to put any apes in harm and stuff. And also at one point, one of the workers for the apes gets a serum accidentally of the gas, goes on him, and he dies. Eventually later he dies. So that's when they realize that the serum will kill humans, but it won't kill apes or animals. So that's pretty crazy. And eventually Caesar gets taken to this ape place because he attacks a person, because the person's being mean to Will's father. He gets taken, eventually the father dies, which is really sad. And that's when we get introduced to the guy who played Drake Malfoy in Harry Potter. And his characters are very one-dimensional. I mean, it wasn't like... he wasn't as good as Drake Malfoy was, because his character was really good in Harry Potter, but what are you gonna do? So, yeah, he's always bullying the apes and stuff, and then the only ape Caesar can talk to is this other ape that also understands sign language, and they can talk back to back. At one point, Will pays the owner of that place to get Caesar back, but Caesar doesn't want to go back, and then Caesar starts realizing how bad the humans are to the apes, so he starts to, he gets really angry, so he escapes the place, goes into Will's house, takes all his serums, puts knives in it, gases it, gives it all to all the other apes, and they all get smart. And thus the rise of the apes begins. At one point, Drake Malfoy's character comes in and he's all like, "Well, what are you doing?" Because Caesar's the only guy outside. So he says, I think he starts fighting with Caesar, and he's like, "Get back in your cage, you damn dirty ape." And Caesar's like, "No!" He screams, he says no. And once then, everybody in the theater, even the apes, just stopped. And they're like, oh damn, shit's gonna get loose. Oh! No, it was crazy, like, oh my gosh. So then, Caesar knocks out Drake Malfoy's character, puts him in a cage, puts his friend in a cage. Drake Malfoy eventually escapes his cage, has his taser, starts trying to taser Caesar. But Caesar has this, hose, and he hoses Drake Malfoy's character, and he gets electrocuted and dies. And that's when Will finds out what's going on, and Caesar and all the other apes go and they break into the lab place, and they almost kill the owner guy, but the owner guy gets out. And then the apes end up going to the Golden Gate Bridge, and let me just check my time. Okay, they go to the Golden Gate Bridge, and all the police are there, and what they do is they go from the bottom, the side, and the top, so the police don't know, and they surround them, and it's so crazy. Caesar actually doesn't want to kill the police. He stops an ape from killing a police. What they do is they just beat the crap out of all of them and take their guns. They just start beating them up. And at one point, one of the gorillas just jumps into the helicopter with the owner guy, and it falls. And the ape that he was testing ends up pushing the helicopter, and it falls into the water, killing the owner. And Will eventually, he tries to get Caesar back, but Caesar obviously doesn't want to hurt Will. And after they beat up all the police officers, they end up running to they end up running to where do they run? To the forest, and that's where Will follows them. And he talks to Caesar, and he's like, you know, you don't have to do this. You can stop. You can live with me, and I'll protect you. But then Caesar whispers into Will's ear, and he says, oh yeah, first he's like, you know, I can bring you home and stuff. So then he whispers into his ear. Caesar whispers into Will's ear, Caesar is home. And you're like, oh my gosh, he's talking. That's so crazy. I mean, you forget that this is going to eventually probably get into a whole Planet of the Apes type thing. So yeah, so he talked, and then Will's like, okay. So Will understands, and then Caesar goes into this tree, and it ends with Caesar looking down at the city. And then the credits start to roll, and after the credits it shows, because the guy that died from the serum coughs on this pilot guy, and it shows the pilot guy walking, and he starts coughing blood, and then he starts walking, and then it basically shows that he's gonna infect this place, and it's just gonna have a huge epidemic infecting the whole world. And then it ends, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I want a sequel. So yeah, that was Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and what I think could be a sequel is, with the humans start dying off, the apes can start to take over, and stuff like that will start to happen. And I think in the third movie, I think there should be a third movie, and that's when a huge war starts to happen. And either way, if it goes in a Planet of the Apes style, I don't care. Either way, I think in the end, Caesar should turn good. And I think either he should help Will stop all the apes, or if it gets to be a prequel of Planet of the Apes, then him and Will should die trying to fight the apes. That's just my opinion. So yeah, check time. That was my review of Rise of the Planet, my full review of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. 4 stars, like I said. So definitely check it out, and yeah, subscribe to HippoMan223, subscribe to my new channel, MPP Boxers, with my dad's 3 boxers, Max, Patch, and Petra. Subscribe to channel I have with my friends, The Game Over Productions. Subscribe to my friend's channel, Curly Fies, Shadow Flamist, Funfair Productions. And yeah, subscribe to all those, and most of all, subscribe to me, I'm just saying. That was my review, and yeah, goodbye. Are you still here? If you stayed this long, that's pretty funny. Okay, I gotta go now. See you later. Why am I stalling? I don't know. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, subscribe to everyone. Actually, the reason I was stalling too long is I was trying to think of something to do, but I completely failed. I had no idea what to do, so I just stalled the whole time, and I decided to do this. So, whatever. Nothing else to do. So yeah, subscribe and goodbye.